Welcome back. Puppy Kitty New York City is an organization that focuses on the well-being of animals in need, but one of their programs could actually benefit people who attend, and that is kitten therapy. This form of therapy allows attendees to interact with kittens to help reduce stress, anxiety, and feelings of loneliness. Joining me to discuss all you need to know about kitten therapy is the president of Puppy Kitty NYC, Meagan Licari. I should also mention that we have some special guests joining us today. Let's bring them out. Meagan, thank you so much for joining us and for bringing these adorable kittens.
Yes.
Now, can you tell us a little bit more about Puppy Kitty NYC?
Sure. So Puppy Kitty New York City is a animal rescue group here in New York, and we focus mainly on cats, but we do help dogs, guinea pigs, rabbits, hamsters, kind of anything that comes our way. Our mission is to never say no to an animal in need, but kitties are our specialty.
Now, what inspired the creation of this organization? Like, what was the moment that you knew this was something that you wanted to be a part of?
I actually started as a volunteer, and I just, my husband wouldn't let me foster, couldn't have extra cats in our house, so I just started driving cats to the vet, and then I was like hooked.
Oh,
so I just started as a transport volunteer, and here I am.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, one of the experiences your organization offers is kitten therapy. Now, I feel like I kind of see what it is, but can you just explain what kitten therapy is for those who don't know?
Sure. So kitten therapy is just like a little event. A lot of corporate places do it, and we bring kittens, you hold them, it brings people joy. Everyone, even here, I feel like we're having a little kitten therapy going on in the studio, right?
Right.
Everyone's smiling like, oh my God. So it's just, a cute little thing to experience and be able to hold kittens, where most people probably don't come across little guys like this too often in your regular life. So it's an opportunity for that.
Now, what, major organization want to offer this type of therapy?
People were actually reaching out to me and asking for it, and I was like, okay, maybe there's a way to spin this into raising money for the organization, and raising awareness about kittens and helping people, with their stress levels. And the world's a crazy place. Working in offices, people now they're back to the office, that can be stressful.
Right.
Commutes here in New York City are stressful. So anything to relieve stress and bring joy. These little guys,
Now, as you mentioned, stress could be one of the benefits. What are some other benefits of this form of therapy?
I think, cats in general also can kind of get a bad rap. Like, everybody loves dogs, but, I meet so many people
Guilty.
yeah, cats. And I'm like, I love cats.
Yeah.
And there's always a story of, I was attacked by a cat when I was a kid. So I think this just, brings awareness that cats are sweet and, caring, loving little guys, and
Right.
It sheds a different light on them.
Right. I have to admit, I'm one of those people. I'm like, I don't know too much about cats, but they are very cute, and I'm so glad that you brought them to the studio just for everybody to kind of get a little taste of what kitten therapy is about.
Yeah.
Now, how does this improve mental health for both the person, but also how does this improve, just the well-being of the cats involved?
For the cats specifically, it's great for their socialization. You could see this little plaid here is a little bit more scared, but I think even since he got here, he's warmed up a little bit. So it's great for their socialization. People, when they meet kittens, they want to see that their friend, this guy, he's an adventurer. People want to see that the kittens are friendly, and it really helps prepare them for adoption. Oh, we have an escapee. And it helps prepare them for adoption. And I think for people, it helps them get over their fear. You can test if you have allergies or not. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say, oh, I don't have allergies, and they take the cat home and they realize that they do. So this is a good way to test out if you're super allergic. It's a good way to get FaceTime with us to hear about what it's like to be a pet owner and the precautions that you need to take, and that it is a lifetime commitment. These little guys can live up to 20 years.
Wow.
So I think it's a really great way to find out about adoption and pet ownership.
Can you talk about that a little bit more? Because I think a lot of people, they view pets as sadly as an accessory to their life, and think, oh my God, it would be so cute to have a kitten or a puppy. But as you mentioned, a lot of people don't know the work that goes into that. Can you talk about that and just why it's important to kind of view that before you decide to take on a pet?
Yeah, and I think, yeah, definitely. It definitely is a commitment. It's like having a child. You're responsible for their little lives. You have to feed them. You have to make sure they get medical care. And one issue here, especially in New York, medical care and veterinary care is extremely expensive. And I don't think people really realize that one trip to the ER can be over $1,000. I highly, highly recommend pet insurance. If you don't have it, get it. It's not if you'll use it, it's when. So pet insurance is really important. And yeah, it's definitely a commitment. You have to care for them. You have to clean their litter box. If you have a dog, you have to walk them. Small animals. People, I think it's easy because they're in a cage, but it's not. Right. It's a lot of work.
And I want to talk about cages. Clearly we have, the cat, they're so, just full of life and they want to like bounce around. Can you talk about just the setting that should be appropriate for these animals, even, in regard to the kitten therapy and how people can model that in their own homes?
Yeah. So we always recommend when taking either your kitten or cat home or even a dog, starting off in a small space. It's like if you had to move into a big mansion, you'd be like, oh, this is a little scary. So it's scary and stressful for them. They don't know where they are. It's best to start them in a small space. And if you see that they're super confident, you feel it out. But most of the time, especially rescue animals and cats who have struggled on the street to survive and been traumatized either from not being fed or being abused, something like that, it's really important to start them off in a small spot.
Now, talking in regards to kitten therapy, how does this help people in comparison to traditional forms of therapy?
I just think it just immediately brings people smiles to their face. Or, something like a nursing home or a group home where pets are not allowed, it would give them an opportunity to maybe have that missing companionship that they're looking for that they may have had in a previous home. So I think it definitely sticks out as something a little different.
Now, what kind of planning goes into making sure that everyone, including the kittens, have an enjoyable therapeutic experience?
Well, having someone like me from the organization being there who's very good at handling cats. As you can see, we've almost had a few little escapes. So you have to be able to handle the kittens. And just, it's pretty easy. There's not a whole lot of planning. We have our little safety area here and just bringing them the supplies that they need. I have food and litter in my bag just in case. So it's pretty simple.
Now, what has the response been like from people who have attended this, kitten therapy?
People are loving it. It's just so cute. And like I said, most of the time you don't see little guys like this. So it really gives people opportunities to hold and interact with tiny kittens. And these guys aren't up for adoption just yet. They still have to get a few more vaccines and be of weight before they can go home. But I think it just is nice for people to interact with them at this age.
And who is the best audience for this? So, is this great for kids? Is this great for elders? Like, who is the best person to kind of have this experience?
Yeah, I would say this is kind of tough for kids because it's so exciting and, there'd be a lot of yelling and that can make them nervous, the kittens. So right now we're not doing it with, schools like elementary school. We would definitely do it for a college class. There was a study one time about college kids holding kittens and then they tested the cortisol in their saliva and the levels went down. So we would definitely offer it for adults, young adults. And I think it would be great for a nursing home or a rehab place where you may have had a cat or a dog and you just miss your furry little companion. So right now we're adults only.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I understand that this is also, it's not just therapeutic, but also educational. What do you teach people during these sessions and what can they learn from this?
Like I said, definitely we talk a lot about pet ownership. And another thing that we talk about is kittens in pairs. We get a lot of pushback and disappointment when people say that they only want one kitten. Okay. But when you have kittens this age, it's really important for them to learn from each other. They learn how to groom, they learn how to use the litter box, how to eat, how to not play bite. When you have a single kitten, they tend to bite your fingers, and a lot of them can end up with behavioral issues, what we call single kitten syndrome. So we adopt out kittens in pairs unless you have another pet or young cat in the home. So we tell everybody about that in advance, so they don't say, oh, I just want plaid or kilt, Okay. And we talk about the cat homelessness in New York City and the suffering that goes on in the street and these little guys' stories and where they came from and adoption. We really want to promote adoption. No one should be buying cats from breeders when there's hundreds upon hundreds in shelters. If you can't adopt from us, there's our local city shelter and tons of other amazing organizations that literally put their blood, sweat, and tears into getting these little guys off the street. So if we don't have the cat for you, one of my amazing rescue colleagues probably does.
And I'm so glad you mentioned adoption, because I think, as I mentioned earlier, people view pets as like, oh, I want a cat that looks specifically like this. Can you just talk about maybe the importance of maybe straying away from that and thinking of the animal as just someone, or not someone, but, a being that needs a home and love?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really important for people to have pets. I obviously am obsessed with animals. I don't know what my life would be without a pet, but we also need to think that we're here for them.
Right.
We're rescuing these guys. And I know a lot of people say who rescued who, but, they need us more than we need them. So we really have to think about, we're doing this to save them. And when you adopt a shelter pet, you're not just saving the life of these little guys, but it opens a space for ones that are on the street. So we really have to think about what we can do for them.
Okay, that's so amazing. And I love that last part that you mentioned, that when you adopt a pet, that opens a space for another one. So I just want to thank you so much for, joining us, for bringing these cute, adorable cats. As I mentioned, I'm not a cat person. Maybe I might change my mind at the end of this, but thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
If you would like to find out more about kitten therapy, please go to their website at www.puppykittynyc.org. We've come to the end of our show today. I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us and you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recable cast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimum Channel 67 and Verizon Fios Channel 33, or watch anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. You can catch a brand new episode of Open with Darren Jaime on Wednesday and with Rena Valentine on Friday. I'm Kibin Alleyne, wishing you and yours safety and wellness now and always. See you next time.